Hey there, welcome back. Today we are breaking down one of Mikhail Tal's greatest games, a knight sacrifice, a queen sacrifice, and Boden's mate. Today we are looking at one of Mikhail Tal's most brilliant games from the 1957 Soviet Championship. Bukhuti Gurgenidze opens with d4 and Tal responds with the knight to f6. Gurgenidze plays c4 and Tal immediately strikes back with c5, the Benoni Defense. White pushes d5 and Tal answers with e6, preparing to challenge the center. Knight c3 develops and Tal trades the pawn with xd5. White recaptures cxd5 and Tal plays d6, defending c5 and opening the diagonal for his bishop. This might look awkward for black with that big white center pawn, but Tal loved this variation. He could use his creativity to find surprising tactical ideas here. White develops the knight to f3 and Tal fianchettos his bishop to g7. Bishop e2 and both sides castle kingside. Tal plays rook e8, putting pressure on the e4 pawn, and Gurgenidze adds a defender with knight d2. Now Tal brings the knight to a6, planning knight c7 followed by a pawn push on the queen side. White places the rook on e1 and Tal plays knight c7 as expected. White pushes a4 to prevent the b5 break, but Tal is flexible. He plays b6 first because a direct a6 would allow White to play a5 and freeze the pawn. His plan is a6 followed by b5 and a pawn exchange. Now, White plays queen c2, focusing attention on the center. You might think Tal just sacrifices everything and attacks, but there is a method to his madness. His original plan was a queenside attack, but after queen c2, he noticed something. The king side looks weak for white, and this rook on e1 is now undefended. You have to be flexible, so Tal shifted his focus to the king side and played knight g4. The bishop on e2 could capture this knight, but that means giving up the bishop pair. Does he want to give away his bishop pair for this knight? If I were playing against Tal, I would just exchange everything and head to the endgame. But this is 1957 and nobody knows yet how dangerous Tal can be. Gurgenidze plays h3, expecting Tal to retreat the knight, but Tal did not go back. Instead, he did what he does best, an insane knight sacrifice. Knight takes f2. You should not take when Tal sacrifices, but Gurgenidze could not resist, and he takes the knight. Queen h4 check from Tal. Remember, the queen moved to c2 earlier, leaving the rook undefended, so the white king is forced back to f1 to defend the rook. Blocking with g3 does not work because black goes all out and finishes the king in a few moves. So king f1 is forced, then comes bishop d4 with the obvious threat of mate on f2. With all these pieces, you might think white can easily defend, but there's only one move that saves him, knight d1. All these pieces are cramped up in such an awkward way. Now fasten your seatbelts because Tal has another brilliant move. Queen takes h3. This looks like a queen sacrifice, and if white takes, then bishop h3 is a stunning Boden's mate, and black is also threatening queen h1 mate, so Gurgenidze played the only option, bishop f3, giving the king some breathing room. Tal moves in further, now threatening queen g1 check. White tries to defend with knight e3, interfering to stop the bishop from defending the queen. Tal is on the attack and wants to break open the position, so he plays f5. He plans to tear apart the e-file. If white takes the pawn, then bishop takes the knight and black is winning. Gurgenidze understands the pressure, so he plays knight c4, adding two more defenders to this knight. Takes, and Tal goes bishop a6, pinning the knight and bringing another piece into action. This rook can also join the party. White pulls back his bishop, covering the f-file. Just look at this board. This knight is pinned. The other knight is pinned because of queen g1 mate. The bishop covers the king, the other bishop and rook defend the knight, and the queen and rook have no idea what to do. And look at black, everyone is just attacking the king. This is a dream position for Tal. Black doubles up his rooks, making the attack even stronger. Bishop d2, and Tal brings the last piece into action. Knight takes d5. See how smartly he gets every piece into the game. White cannot take with the knight because of the mate, so he captures with the bishop. It is a check, so the rook takes. Again, the knight cannot take, so the king runs to e2. Tal will not allow that, so he picks up the knight, and after rook takes, he gobbles up the other knight too. It is a check, and here is where white surrendered. Tal is already up 3 pawns, and if you think about taking with the queen, it is a forced mate in 2.